Oof. What's up, y'all? Gonna be a little bit different of a video. Still got the usual car talk, but no lift today. It's Thursday. It's off day. I say off day, but I ran. If you are on my Instagram, you'd see I fucking did a fast tempo run today. So not really off all the way, but today, as you can tell by the title, we're gonna talk about the truth about going beyond your limits. It's hard for me to really try to be serious. I always end up fucking making some weird face or speaking in a weird accent, but this is a more serious video, so take the word seriously. Don't necessarily take me seriously. But the truth, as I go through the video, you'll kind of understand why I'm making this video in the first place, and it has to do with what I'm actually talking about. So, and that is, you'll be uncomfortable. Like, when you actually genuinely try to push past your limits, you will be uncomfortable, basically, all the time. At least, like, definitely in like a bulking and cutting context, especially cutting context, because that's where I'm coming from for the most part right now. And some other things. I'm also dead broke. Not dead broke. I can make money. It's just it's not going to be like it's not 100% in my control of me making money because I'm more self-employed. I do Instacart and DoorDash and all that. So, and if you live in a spotty area where sometimes there'll be pretty good days and other times there'll be like jack shit. So then you're basically not making any money on that day. That's going to be a little fucking worrisome if you don't really have that much money to begin with. So not being able to make money is going to cause a little bit more anxiety, especially when you're trying to push past your limits. So you're already in an anxious state, and then you try to do something to go beyond your limits. You're going to be up even more in an anxious state. So it's just going to like compound on top of each other. And then the farther you go into trying to break your limits, the harder it's going to be, the more uncomfortable you're going to be. And I actually wrote down a list of things this time. And what comes with being uncomfortable is that you're going to want to find your body in the subconscious doesn't know that you're doing this on purpose. Well, sometimes some of them is on purpose. Like I said, I'm putting myself in a cutting deficit to push myself past my limits on purpose. I'm not purposely trying to not make money. I want to make money. So when I can't make it, it's like I lose that control part. But then I'm also doing a control thing on top of that. But my brain doesn't know the difference. It doesn't know the difference. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference. So it's just thinking, we are fucked all the time. We are fucked. And that's one of the things I have. Where to go? It's like the lower you are. Oh yeah, the less you have, the harder it is. So like I was saying, like I don't have that much money, so I can't really that's an anxiety right there. Whereas if I were able to just make a stable income, then that anxiety would be down here, and then I'd be at base level, and then I'd get to choose. I choose like a cut and push past my limits in a cut and get more shredded than I can even possibly think of. That's one baseline level. But like I said, if you have something that you can't control and then that anxiety's on top of that, it makes it all the fucking harder. So when you get to that point, your body wants to try to find coping mechanisms. And mine sure the fuck is. It's a hard coper because, like I said, the harder it is, the more you want to cope. And so, like lots of people, when they try to push past their limits, instead of, like for me, it's been like either take a coping mechanism or basically quit. And that's why a lot of people quit, is because they get to that point where they need coping mechanisms and they're like, this is too hard. So instead of finding a coping mechanism, they just quit. And they never push past their limits and they just stay complacent and the same forever. But sometimes when you find coping mechanisms, like I said, the harder it gets, the more you want to cope. You can end up becoming I don't know if I can even say the word on YouTube because you know how fucking weird they are with words and shit. I basically became a slave to my coping mechanisms, which I found that out recently. I mean, I kind of knew, it was always on the back of my mind, but ended up having a fucking panic attack at 3 a.m, and then I fucking sat there and was like, what the fuck? Why is this going on? I've been trying to push, and I realized that I became a slave to my phone, and because that's a really easy one to have as a coping mechanism, really easy. And I knew I was kind of abusing weed a little bit too much, because before, at the beginning of the cut, I was able to just do it in a fun manner. Like I didn't feel like it was controlling me. I was able to just do it. It's not gonna like overwhelm and shit. Yeah, UPS behind us. We have a package or something. Hold on, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Oh, they get a couple seconds. Alright, he dropped it off. He's leaving now. Oop. Little loud truck. You can see him just in the corner right here. But as I was saying, I basically became a slave to my phone, and I was becoming a slave to the weed, where the second I would feel bored and uncomfortable, I would just be like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to fucking get high or get on my phone. Which I stopped doing the weed for a while. It was also because I was trying to taper off of weed for a bit, lower my tolerance to it, because I wanted to get high for 420. But then getting high all day for 420 really just like clouded my fucking brain, because I was like, even though I knew why I was doing it on 420, my subconscious was like, yep, you're trying to run away. You're trying to run away from your uncomfortability and your thoughts and all that. And that's when I had that panic attack at 3 in the morning. And then doing so, I also realized that, like I said, I was becoming a slave to my phone, because I'd always, like, the second I was bored, I would just instantly check my phone for either my followers, new subscribers, see how many likes I got, basically checking it for validation to say that all this pushing myself, like pushing past my limits and shit, it was all worth it. If I was getting followers and likes, it was all worth it. But if I wasn't gaining as many followers and likes as I wanted, the uncomfortability and anxiety would just go even fucking higher, and until it fucking overflows, and then has nowhere else to go except just fucking panic. And so it's like I said, man, it's fucking tough. Especially checking for validation, because like I said, when the numbers aren't there, it's overwhelming. And so now I realize that. And so I basically made it to where I only can check my numbers and check my likes and shit once I've posted something. Like the second I post a video on any of the platforms, then I can check for comments and shit right then and reply to whatever. But then the second I do that, basically done with it. So if I don't post anything, I'm not going to just randomly get on my phone. I've been good about it for the past 3 or 4 days. It's Thursday. I started on Monday. And the only time I can really check my phone, like just free range, is like right before I go to bed. Like I'll be sitting on the side, like I'll have my little nighttime routine and brush my teeth, whatever. And then I'd sit on the side of my bed, whatever, check any messages, any comments, anything. And then, that's my one time I can. So instead of just mindlessly, it's basically you got to be self-aware of it. And that's what I've been doing better recently, is like, I'll feel an urge to check my phone or do something to make me not uncomfortable, to make myself more comfortable. And I'll say no. And then it basically gives me that control back. So like for the past 4 days, I've been not checking my phone randomly, which has actually genuinely helped. I mean, I'm still anxious though, because I still have the uncomfortability from like not having as much money and being broke, and trying to push past and cut even more. I'm basically like, and I don't have the energy. I don't have the energy at all, because I don't have the calories to have the energy. So I've also been getting a fucking caffeine dependency. And so like whenever I'm bored, like especially if I have caffeine in the morning, it gets me a super nice high because I have nothing in my system. So it just instantly hits my system. I'm like up, I eat something, or walk around or go to the gym, and I come back. Like you've seen my workouts. If you watch my workouts, I crash and I'm fucking in a bad mood the rest of the day, because I'm still hungry, hangry, no caffeine, no energy, anxiety from fucking no money, and it just keeps stacking. It is fucking difficult. Like I said, the less you have, the harder it is. And the farther you try to push past your limits, the harder it's going to get on top of that, because you're going to be even more uncomfortable. And like I said, with caffeine dependency, I already had a nitro cold brew from Starbucks this morning. A nitro cold brew is like 250 to 300 milligrams of caffeine. Mine was probably more on the 250 side, because they kind of shorted me some from the top of the cup. But I literally was like, I crashed from that like an hour after I drank it. So I literally went to go fucking do this. I went to go get an energy drink, just so I can have something. Because I want also, when I'm uncomfortable, instead of checking my phone or getting high or anything, I'm just sitting there. And if I have no orders on Instacart or DoorDash that pop up, I'm basically just sitting here doing nothing. And I don't want to I don't want to like play video games. I don't want to fucking watch TV, because then I feel like, well, I'm just being kind of lazy, because I don't want to cross relaxation time with work time. But if there's no work, then I'm just sitting there in a basically super uncomfortable state. Even though like I'm technically could be sitting on the couch, I feel super uncomfortable just from all the subconscious mental bullshit. Like I said, I want something like this too, just because it has flavor. It has some, gnats. It has some flavor to it. It has some sweetness to it. It has the caffeine to give me basically a high to try to fucking just get away from the uncomfortability. That's basically all I'm doing with everything now, is just try to get away from the uncomfortability. Unless I just want to just sit on a fucking chair and wait till there's an order, but then just have all those uncomfortable, like, self-doubt thoughts and shit. Like, man, is this all this work really worth it? Is all of it really worth it? That's basically all that's running through my brain. Because, like, when you try to push yourself and try to make it on something that's really hard to make it, especially social media, you just sit there in an uncomfortable state 24/7 if you're not doing something or like taking up your time or taking up your brain space by doing something. But then when you do that, it makes you feel like you're running away from your thoughts. And it's just like, I'm not running. I know the thoughts are there, but I also have the feeling of just being uncomfortable. So it's like, and then now we've got all the way around circle. Like I said at the beginning of the video, now you understand why I'm making this video. Because I have nothing else to do. I'm basically bored right now. And uncomfortable as shit because there's no orders popping up. So I'm making this video to talk about how fucking difficult that is. Like I said, I'm now back full circle to the beginning of the video. Like I said, I'm making this video because I'm uncomfortable and I have nothing else to do. But it's stuff that does need to be said because most people don't speak about this side of fucking pushing past your limits, going beyond your limits. That is this shit right here. It is fucking tough as shit. That's why I'm making this video. So, and all it is like when you really do try to push past your limits, it really shows you how bad do you want it, or are you just a bitch? That's like mentally, I feel fucking weak as shit. Even though the longer I go, it shows me that I'm stronger. So the longer you can go, the stronger you will see how mentally strong you actually are. Whereas the people, like I said at the beginning, people that get to the tough part and then just instantly quit. But the more you can push past your limits, you will show and prove to yourself that you're mentally stronger than you think you are. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now. I'm like, I got 2.5 weeks left of this cut before I can eat. And then that anxiety from being hungry all the fucking time will go back down. But as I get closer to the end, it's going to get harder because I still have to drop the calories. Because I'm losing about 1.5 pounds a week to like try to get to where I want to be goal-wise before I'm done with the cut. And it was fucking... It's just going to get harder and harder from here. That's really it. And so... I basically balance between all my fucking coping mechanisms and shit. Because as I go, it gets harder. I switch off of one coping mechanism. All right, no weed. And then I was checking my phone, and then, oh no, shit, I can't be checking my phone all the time. That's a bad thing. I go that, and I'm like, well, now I'm uncomfortable again. All right, let's just dose ourselves with caffeine. You have to try your best, even though it's hard. You have to try your best to find a coping mechanism that also helps with your goal. Which, I mean, technically caffeine does because it's a diuretic. So it means I'll just constantly be pissing all the time. Pissing out all the... because I think that's how you lose your fat. Like, it melts off of you, but then you're like, where does it go? I think you piss it out or shit it out or sweat it out. I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure piss is the main way. So the more you piss, if you're still in deficit, you're going to be pissing out all your fat and you're going to be losing that weight. So finding a coping mechanism that can help. Also walking. Whenever I get bored, I'll go walk around sometimes. Like, that's why, if you've been watching my videos, I talk about getting into my Instagram. You'll check my stories. I post about my steps every fucking day. Unless I get it's a really bad day and I don't get any steps. But for the most part, I post my steps every day. And I try to get 12,000 plus. That's my goal daily, about 12,000. So find coping mechanisms that help you with your goal. And then you'll be able to push past and go beyond your limits. So don't do something that is especially dopamine-wise. Walking isn't going to take up that much dopamine, but checking your phone or smoking weed and using that as a coping mechanism, that shit will destroy your dopamine and you won't have any drive to keep going. But I noticed once I stopped getting on my phone, just for these past few days, and once I stopped smoking as much weed, I've been working more. I've been posting more, I've been working more, and I have a little bit more drive to be like, all right, I can do this deficit. I can do it. Because I'm mentally, since I haven't been destroying my dopamine and going mindless, the more self-aware you are, the easier it will be to be like, all right, we got this. Stick to this. We have a specific calorie number we got to get to. Once we hit that number, stop. That's it. Just stop. But that's basically some of the main things. To push past your limits, you need to be mindful and just control your coping mechanisms. That's pretty much it. And if you're mindful, The more mindful you are and self-aware you are, the more you'll be able to, control your coping mechanisms. So, that's the main gist of this video. That is the truth about going beyond your limits. Now, if you did enjoy, well, not necessarily enjoy, but you learned something from. If you learned something from this and you can relate to this, be sure to leave a subscription. I don't know where it's on the screen. I think it might be up here. I know on if you watch it on YouTube TV, it'll be more like right here for the subscribe button. Be sure to subscribe because I'm going to try and talk through all the difficulties. The truth. That is the truth. Like I said, title of this video, The Truth About Going Beyond Your Limits. Peace. I'm going to down this thing. Goodbye.